Fuel efficiency. It's the one thing almost every car buyer thinks about. But are today's new cars really better than the old ones when it comes to saving fuel? Or were the classics just as good or maybe even better? In this video, we're diving into the comparison between old cars and new cars, and asking one big question, which is truly more fuel efficient, and why. Factors like engine size, weight, aerodynamics, tire type, and even how you drive all influence fuel economy. So, when we talk about old versus new, we're not just comparing engines. We're comparing two different eras of automotive engineering. Let's break it all down. Before we compare, let's make sure we're clear on what fuel efficiency really means. Fuel efficiency is usually measured in miles per gallon, or mpg. It simply tells us how far a vehicle can travel on a single gallon of fuel. Small cars like the original Mini Cooper, early Honda Civics, or the Volkswagen Beetle offered decent mileage, sometimes even matching today's economy cars. But for the most part, fuel efficiency thus wasn't the top priority. The higher the number, the more efficient the vehicle is. However, there's a lot more behind that number than you might think. Most older cars had 3 or 4-speed automatics, but today's cars often have 6, 8, or even 10-speed gearboxes that keep the engine operating at peak efficiency. Cars like the Toyota Prius, Honda Insight, and Hyundai Ioniq routinely get more than 50 mpg. And let us not forget about CVT's continuously variable transmissions, which adjust seamlessly to driving conditions to save fuel. The old cars, the good and the bad smaller turbocharged engines deliver the same power as older V6 or V8 engines, but with much better mileage. The result wasn't just cleaner air, it was also better fuel efficiency. Direct fuel injection, variable valve timing, and lighter materials like aluminum and carbon composites all play a role. Let's start with the old cars. Starting in the 1970s, governments around the world began cracking down on vehicle pollution. Muscle cars with massive V8 South ruled the roads. They looked cool, sounded amazing, and had an unmistakable charm. But they weren't known for sipping fuel. Fuel was cheaper. Emission standards were looser, and there was far less pressure to be efficient. These cars don't burn gasoline at all. Instead, they run on electricity, and their efficiency is measured in mpge miles per gallon equivalent. Some models hit 100 mpge or more. That's how a car like the Prius can get 50 to 60 mpg without being fully electric. Car manufacturers were focused more on performance and durability than on saving fuel. They didn't have power-hungry electronics or safety features, and they ran on basic mechanical systems. In the 60s, 70s, and even 80s, cars were heavier, boxier, and often built with bigger engines. Back then, it wasn't uncommon for a car to average just 10 to 15 miles per gallon. That makes them appealing to budget-conscious drivers even if they don't win the fuel economy race. That said, there were exceptions. The new cars' modern technology, hybrid batteries, turbo systems, and complex transmissions aren't cheap. It might take years of fuel savings to balance out the extra cost. Now let's talk about today's cars. Even if you spend a little more on gas, you're saving on purchase price and, sometimes, on insurance too. Modern vehicles are packed with technology aimed at improving fuel efficiency. And with a few upgrades like modern carburetors, better tires, or a tuned engine, you can squeeze out even better mileage from a vintage ride. Then there's the transmission. And let us know in the comments, do you prefer the fuel economy of a modern car or the raw simplicity of an old classic? Newer models also come with features like automatic start-stop, aerodynamic body designs, low rolling resistance tires, and even hybrid systems. Even regular gasoline-powered cars like the Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla can now reach 35 to 40 mpg easily, something almost unheard of in the 70s or 80s. Today's engines are cleaner, smarter, and far more efficient than those from decades ago. Add in hybrids and electric vehicles, and the gap becomes even wider. The role of emission standards. One major reason behind the fuel efficiency improvement is stricter emission standards. This forced automakers to rethink how they built engines. Catalytic converters, oxygen sensors, and better fuel systems were introduced. The push for cleaner and more sustainable vehicles led to the rise of hybrid and electric technology, and even regular gasoline engines had to become more efficient just to meet legal standards. So, in a way, emissions laws gave birth to the modern fuel-efficient car. Now, hybrids and electric's the game changer, and that brings us to hybrids and electric cars. Hybrids combine a gasoline engine with an electric motor. The electric motor takes over in stop-and-go traffic or at lower speeds, dramatically increasing fuel economy. Then there are plug-in hybrids and fully electric vehicles like the Tesla Model 3, Nissan Leaf, or Ford Mustang Mach-E. Compared to old gasoline-only cars, these modern vehicles are in a league of their own when it comes to efficiency, when old cars win. But does that mean old cars are completely outmatched? Not necessarily. Some classic cars, especially small compacts from the 70s and 80s, were surprisingly fuel-efficient often because they were incredibly light and simple. In fact, some older cars could match or even beat certain modern SUVs in terms of MPG. And then there's maintenance. Older cars are easier to repair and sometimes cheaper to keep running, especially if you're doing the work yourself. The cost factor. Here's another thing to consider: costs. Newer fuel-efficient cars often come with a higher upfront price due to the tech inside. Old cars, on the other hand, are usually cheaper to buy upfront, so fuel efficiency is only part of the equation. The total cost of ownership matters just as much. So, old cars versus new cars, who wins the fuel efficiency battle? When it comes to raw numbers, new cars take the crown. But if we're talking simplicity, charm, and ease of maintenance, older cars still have their place. In the end, it's not just about the MPG, it's about what matters most to you. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more automotive insights. See you in the next one.